Damn, your girl so fine, but her breath is like whoa. She say she wanna dance, but she don't know how to whoa.
Welcome back, guys. Ron here once again, and before we get started, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you are enjoying it, and give it a thumbs down if you're not. So once you watch it, just don't forget, guys, show your support for the channel. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and click that subscribe button and notification bell so you get notified every time we upload a new video. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. All right, so Tesla, again, guys, is making its way higher. Decent amount of volume came in. You can see here, right? Volume, nice little spike. Volume, you got this, and then it was followed by this one volume, but now you got this pattern here as it hit the all-time highs. So when I see this, right, and you didn't get one of these, you just got to start being a little cautious and say, hey, is this going to be followed by a continued move higher, or is this going to start forming a reversal? Okay, so just be cautious of this here, because now if we don't get a new high today, this thing may start to reverse here. So it's just one of those things to pay attention to, right? So we're looking here, RSI as well on the daily. So if you look down here, you can see the RSI was higher, right, on these days, on these time frames here, than it is here at this new all-time high, right? It hit all-time high, but the RSI is a little lower. So it's setting itself up for a potential reversal, right? It's setting itself up to start heading lower. And again, I still like Tesla on the bullish side, but I don't really care which way it goes. As long as it goes somewhere, I'd rather trade it the way that it wants to go. But like I said, now you can start expecting it to, hey, start making these gap ups, you know, consolidate, pull back, gap up, and continue higher. Then rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. That's what it's probably going to start doing, because Tesla has been doing it a lot faster than Amazon ever did. And you know, now that it's at this area, before you know it, every quarter you may see that Tesla is doing this, right? Quarter after quarter, this is what the candles are going to start looking like, you know, barring a crazy economic event, or you know, something that happens obviously with the war or anything like that that affects Tesla. You know, no more cars from China for Tesla, not that they depend on them. But you know what I mean? Just things like that. Just keep that in mind, okay? But overall, this should be a solid play. For Tesla, I'm looking at... All right, here we go. So for Tesla, I am looking at a break of the previous day's close, guys. All right, so 443, 443.01. You can see it here, right? So you can see that it draws that for me, guys. This is why I said, you know, I only need to draw the things that it doesn't draw for me, which you can see clearly would be this price level here. And I'll start covering that now. So I already see my high. I already see my low, right? So it already gives me that. And if you, so it's this green line, this red line, previous day's close, right? So now I'm looking for it to break this level. My confirmation is going to be 44.64, meaning I'm going to add here. I don't necessarily want to wait to here. When I say confirmation, I just say, hey, go ahead and add some more, because if it does break here, it's probably going to go. What do I mean by break? I don't mean that it just breaks and wicks up and then it reverses. It's just like, hey, man, if you come down to a 1 minute chart and you see that this thing, and again, guys, kind of what I covered yesterday, you know, this obviously may change. It may not even open in this area here. If this thing opens somewhere else, then you have to adjust accordingly. Pay attention to where it is, what line it is next to, and then adjust accordingly. So if this thing does open here, and then it shoots up in 1 minute, and it's already here, but it fails to break that on the 1 minute, then you have to be paying attention to that and say, you know what, this may actually not work out there. You know what I mean? May actually reverse unless a second minute candle actually opens above it and then it continues. And then yes, this would be your break high, because you know what? You didn't even have time to jump in here, because I wouldn't expect you to jump in on the first minute because of that. Because let's say you jump in at the open, this thing hits here and then it quickly reverses, right? And you jumped into calls, you're going to be screwed, because you know you jumped in the wrong direction. Now you're fighting the original direction. You know what I mean? So entry at the open is a 50-50 chance, because you honestly don't know. So if you enter at the open, it's a more of a 50-50 chance. It could go either way, and then you would have to adjust after that. So when it comes to Tesla, It is gapping down slightly, just like everything else, but as you can see, it's moving closer to its previous day. So once it is above this level, especially if it comes above this level, I am definitely comfortable going higher on Tesla. The only one, honestly, I was going to go straight to 454, but I was like, you know what, let me see what the previous day gave me. So, and then, this is what you do, guys. So this is the price level I drew. This is one I would remove, but let's say the next day, to answer one of the questions that was asked last night. So where do I add? So you can add here, obviously. So you have your high, your low, your low high, which is already not low high, your high low, which is pretty much lined up. And this is why I keep telling you guys, this is why I use the indicator, because it usually just draws it for me. And they are pretty lined up with usually your low high or your high low lines up pretty closely with usually with the previous day's open. It usually comes back to that level, making it that level or pretty near. So you can see here your high low is pretty much lined up here, which it already lines up with my pre-market all-time high that I had drawn that line. So I already know what that level is. And then my low high would be this level here. Why did I pick this level here? You could pick this level here, but obviously there's not enough noise there. There's more noise here, right? And then alternatively, as a weak level, you can add this level here if you wanted to. I skipped this level because if it does pause here, you'll probably see it on, what do you call it, a form of pattern or something like that. But I'm not interested in this level. It just doesn't interest me as much as this level up here. But you could. So for example, if you draw the line, you can see here, hey, 446.74 is stopped there on these three candles. These two wicked at it, you know what I mean? So it is something for you. Hey, you know what? Maybe I want to draw that line as well. So just keep that in mind, guys. 446.80 roughly. Followed by 449.70, followed by 454. I skipped 446, but I'm pointing it out to you now so that you know, hey, this is a potential area for it to pause. And then you can say, hey, I'm going to add or just take my profits there. But then that means you're cutting yourself short if it obviously is going to continue. Remember, Tesla's going to do around $14. I don't want you to just get out every time it makes a dollar move. So just keep that in mind. 454 followed by 461.72 would be its next target after the all-time high is broken, up to 461.72. Okay, so key levels to reference. Obviously, the downside is on Amazon, guys. Again, Amazon I like a lot. Now, Amazon had the issue that it couldn't break this level on Friday, right? So it couldn't break it. To break that level for us to go higher. So when I'm looking at it, that will be that level, followed by 1876.43. So I skipped right away, guys. I'm not dealing with anything in between here. Obviously, you can pay attention to EMAs, MAs, but honestly, if it breaks this level here, once it breaks this level here, and it breaks, meaning it opens above it, it closes, and then opens above it and starts pushing higher, it's going. So these are the areas of concern here more than anything else. So 1876 comes up to 1876 and breaks. You already know you have that $7 move to go to 1883 before it potentially reverses, as it likes to do on an intraday reversals, right? So those intraday reversals are there, right? And then previous day's high followed by 1896.92 or 1898. You choose. The pivot is there. I don't ignore these pivots. They have worked well. So just keep that in mind, okay? Again, for the guys with the smaller accounts, I like ROKU because ROKU is good. It tends to move. I mean, if you look at this chart right here on the daily, you can see a lot of solid blocks, right? Not too many wicks overall. So this one should be a solid play. And you can see the volume coming in already, right, on the pre-market, right? So look at the 10-minute. It's already at 169. And if obviously what I look for on these is I want to see it on the morning come up with my 300% scan. So again, pre-market high, I'm looking at the pivot, break, confirmation here. And then I'm looking for it to hit the previous day's high, followed by the pivot at 141.69. ROKU, you can expect a move of $6, about $7, guys. So just keep that in mind. So from 136 to 141, you're looking at about $5. So you can expect it to break a little bit higher than that. But just be mindful, if it breaks down to 134 and then it goes up to 141, there you go. That's your move. And then 143.03. Actually, that's not where that is. Let me just adjust that. Let's see where that is. All right, so followed by 143, which is the daily 50 MA. Just keep an eye on those levels. They do like to bounce off of them. What an awesome day, guys. That was a clip of today's morning call. Everything we reviewed this morning pretty much behaved as expected, which is why we always plan for both sides. So you guys saw the market was coming down early in the morning, right, with all this news about Iran and all this potential of the market to start dropping soon, right? And yes, by all means, if that's what the market wants to do, that's what we are going to do, right? We're going to trade the market in the direction the market wants to go. But when the market wants to do what it did today, there is no reason for you to fight it, right? So we reviewed a couple of stocks today. We didn't even bother reviewing Shopify because we traded basically every day. So we already know how it's going to behave. And the one thing that we pointed out on Shopify was that it behaved exactly as it did on Friday, which was, hey, there was no reasons for you to be taking puts on this thing whatsoever, because all it was doing was rallying, right? The only thing this thing wanted to do today was run higher. And if you take a look at this chart here, let me just clear out all these lines just so that you guys can see it more clearly. Let's go ahead and take a look at this, right? All right, so when you're looking at Shopify here, guys, what can you expect from it, right? So the thing is gapping down. So let's go ahead and push this over all the way to the right edge of the chart. Normally when we're looking over Shopify and any stock that we're looking over, so Shopify, the one thing that we know about Shopify is that it likes to close gaps, guys, right? So this is Friday, and look at what it did on Friday, and it literally did the same thing that it did on Friday. So you see here, it has all these ticks, right? All these ticks, no candle ticks, right? Lower. And one thing Shopify is known for, guys, is for closing gaps. So we covered it on last night's webinar. Basically, it came down to a key level right down here. So this is a key level for me here, which you can see here. Let me just activate those lines once again. Boom. Look at where that thing dropped to, right? And that was there before it hit it, right? Because it obviously, you can see here the name is double top, meaning it touched that level quite a few times before. And look at what it did yesterday or on Friday. It hit that level and it reversed. And once you see that, and if you come down to a smaller time frame, let's go down to the 1 minute time frame, right? So you guys can take a look at this, because this is what we were covering. So it's like if you're paying attention to that and you're paying attention to the key levels that it likes to hang around at and likes to bounce off of, you should be prepared for what it's going to do on the actual day, right? So on today. So today's the 6th. This is today. Let's go ahead and take a look at Friday. Look at Friday, right? So again, where did it hit? It hit the specific line right there. Boom. And they say, hey, man, you know what? I don't actually want to go down. I'm going to go ahead and reverse and go ahead and close that gap. And what did it do? It reversed, started pushing higher until it ultimately closed that gap. Here, it would have actually brought your order down. Give or take a few pennies, guys. Don't come over here and tell me you couldn't have made money on that actual move. But just in case you are wondering, it did close the gap, as you can see here, throughout the rest of the day. So taking a look at it today, yes, the markets were gapping down. Everything is gapping down. But if you are familiar with Shopify, you know one thing is for sure. Shopify likes to close gaps, right? So 8 out of 10, about 9 out of 10, it will normally close that gap. That's exactly what it did again today. So if you know that it did this the last time, again, same location, same line, this is the place where it's having issues at. Yes, it's below it today, but you know, it didn't stay below it. You know what I mean? Had this one continue to go lower, you know, and this is why you got to give yourself a couple of minutes. Honestly, you know, you give yourself a couple of minutes. Don't try to jump in and try to guess in which direction the thing is going to go. Just because it's going down and it had a big push, this is a FOMO entry. If you enter here and you entered into puts, you enter because of FOMO, right? It was a FOMO entry because you saw it drop from 398 all the way down to 396. You're like, oh my God, it moved $2. $2 is nothing on an expected $15+ move from Shopify, okay? Shopify is going to move around $15. So even if you wait for it to move $4, you're still going to make some decent profits, guys. So from the bottom here, it hit a bottom of 395. Even if you waited till this candle here or this candle here, now you're at 400. That's a $5 move that you missed. You know, let's say, you know, this is the FOMO here. Let's say you wanted to jump in here. Oh my God, it's running higher. Even if you waited till here before you got in, right? So you waited till 401. This thing still ran up to 412, guys. So you still had an $11 move to make a profit on Shopify. So there was no issue for you. There was no reason for you to go ahead and rush into the thing, right? And put yourself in a situation where you're going to lose. So once this thing did this move here, it was confirmed that I was going to close the gap. So, you should have just been patient and waited and then rode this puppy higher, right? Because you already knew that the targets, the main areas for concern was here at 408. So as you can see here, 408 was the main target, the main area of concern. But if it did manage to break 408 and path, right, 409.61, then you were going to target the next levels, which were a little higher. And obviously it missed those targets by a little bit. Let's see. So yeah, it just pretty much stayed here. Let's see if it hit 414. So close at the end of the day, right? But it missed it. Now, the other ones that we did review were Amazon, right? Amazon was awesome, and Amazon did the exact same thing, same level, 1776 and 1883. So this morning when Amazon failed to go lower right away, I put it out as well right away. Hey, Amazon, everything was going higher. There was no reason for you to question this. And I believe when I mentioned it was around 9:31, 32, or 33, right around this time frame here. It just looked like, hey, man, this thing is actually going to keep going the way it's going because just everything, market internals, everything was supporting. Hey, everything looks like it's just going to be on full reversal mode from this pre-market gap lower. And obviously, as you can see here, once it broke 1876, I said, hey, man, this thing is going to hit 1883. And it did. After that, you should have taken profits probably right here for the most part and then waited for the rest of the day. Probably, let me see, what time did we get those reversal times again? Usually around 10:30, 10:40, all the way till 11 is when you start getting those reversals. So as you can see here, boom, at 11 o'clock, it started to push higher again. Hit 1883 again, and you can see you could have played 1883 and 1876 back and forth just about all day today, right? Because that's what Amazon was doing all day today. But if you were trading this for the long push, as you can see here, once it broke 1883, which is the key area, and I said it on the other day, the other video from the other watch list too, I said, hey guys, if it breaks 1883, I'm definitely comfortable there because it's gonna go. And as you can see, the next level was 1898, and it hit that. So having trouble breaking that level and staying above it, as you can see here, 1898, hits it, bounces off, hits it, bounces off, hits it, bounces off. Attempted to come back down to 1883, but didn't have the juice for that. Came back, and finally, at the end of the day, we had a nice break. So this is a good sign because now we have signs that there's more potential for continued moves. Now, that because there is a potential for continued move, guys, things are a little bit hectic out there. So I will not, let me not say I will not advise. I'm going to say I will not be holding anything overnight. For the time being, just because you don't want to be caught holding the bag, right? I don't want to be caught holding the bag when things start to turn around massively, especially when I can take advantage of this kinds of moves, right? If I can take advantage of these kinds of moves that we already pre-planned, as you can see here, it hits key levels that we already are pre-planning, that we are expecting it to pause at these levels, right? And that's exactly what it's doing. And as you can see here, this was the main target. Again, triple tops. Why? Because it pauses here quite a bit, not just today, but in previous days. So we already know, hey, this is probably going to be a level for Amazon to have some resistance. But once it breaks 1883, it should have no issues getting up to the next level. And that's exactly what it did, right? The next one that we were reviewing was Tesla. And again, Tesla, guys, I like Tesla a lot because it reminds me a lot about Amazon and how Amazon was when it was at these levels. And as you can see here, Tesla did just that. You look at it. This thing is just breaking. So obviously on the first 5 minute, 10-minute candle here, 5-minute candle, it went from 440 all the way up to 447. So a $6 to $7 move right there, right? And then obviously it has a little hesitation, but as you can see here, if you're doing your little triangles, everybody likes to do these, right? You do a little triangle, it starts to squeeze itself, and then you just wait for that break, and then boom, it broke. And as you can see here, nice, awesome, right to the next target. So you see I didn't have any lines in between here and here, right? So you're either gonna go You're either going to break back down below this and start coming down, or you're going to go to my next target, which was this level, and that's what it did. As you can see here, where did it pause? Right around that level. At the end of the day, it broke out of it and continued higher. So that was Tesla. Tesla obviously would have kept you on your screen and on your monitors. For the most part, you want to be done within the first hour, and or just be writing something like this. That way you're not even concerned about it. So Tesla probably would have kept you on the screen for quite some time, right? Now, Roku. I didn't get to even add it to the watch list, but we did review it right before the end of the morning call, right? And the main reason for Roku was a lot of volume was coming in. And if you don't have the scanner, guy, if you don't have the volume columns, you should get it. Click the links below, because this thing helps us find breakouts on a consistent basis. And as you can see here, we got warned. We had it coming up on the scanner this morning like crazy. It's like, hey man, this thing is getting a lot of volume, guys, a lot of volume. And as soon as this thing opened, Roku. And this was by far the best breakout from the list from today, right? Look at this thing. So, and again, I said this is probably where it's going to end up pausing, and that's exactly what it did. The day 50 MA, keep an eye on that level, guys, right? So from 136 all the way to 143, awesome run. And then one that I caught from the scanners, as I keep telling everybody, keep an eye, guys, on the scanner and find a way for you to identify at least one pick per day from the scanner that you can identify that until you get comfortable picking them and making sure that you're selecting the right one. And this one at first did not look like it was all that great. I will admit it, but I was confident enough that it was going to rally to at least 2250 or higher, which is why I brought it up, and I even put it up, because you guys know I don't like to do alerts. But I want you guys to start getting comfortable. And like I covered on the webinar last night, you don't have to trade them at first. Just write it down so that hey, this is the one I would have taken. This is the price that it was at. And let me see where it ends up later on in the day, right? And then look back at it later on in the day and say, oh, wow, look at that thing, right? So that you can start getting more comfortable with the choices that you make when they come up on the scanner. So when you go and take a look at Billy's, and I said, hey, the 2250s, right? The January 17 2250s. These things were at 60 cents when I pointed them out this morning, right? Let's go ahead and send this one over to yellow, and let's take a quick look at this one. Look at this. So at 9:30, right here, guys, right? I pointed these out very early, 9:33, right around here. So you could have picked these up anywhere from 60 cents all the way down to about 50 cents, right? And again, if you look at the actual stock chart, you saw that it was just continuing to break higher. So you would have had to have the confidence in these. But obviously, because they had so much volume, it's the only reason I trusted that this thing was actually going to break out the way it did. And as you can see here, this is the contract itself. So you could have picked these up anywhere between 50 and 60 cents easily. And then this thing went up all the way up to $1.40. Good target would have been the pivot, obviously, the pivot for the actual contract here. And you can see here, would have been an easy way for you to double your money today. You could have put, again, $60 and made, 120, right? Or an extra $60, 100% return right there, guys, right? Or you could have put $600 and you look at it like that. You could have put $1,000. Just do the math for yourself, guys, and see how much money you could have made just by putting in a couple of contracts here, right? And that's the key. You don't have to go balls deep and put your entire account at risk. You can put a little bit of money. And if you're going to get something like this, that, it's going to be a little slow, it's going to take a couple of hours, but you're going to be able to double your money. And the main indicator here, guys, again, is volume, because the volume is there. This is what is going to happen, right? Because this is what happens. So let's go over today's watch list, for example. Let me just show you some of the other things that came up on the watch list that actually ended up breaking out nicely, that were coming up on the watch list, right? So let's go to the day chart. So this is what Billy looks like, right? You know what? And not even the day chart, because this one has been coming up. This one came up on Friday. I pointed it out on Friday, and it came up today. And look at these massive charts, candles, right? So this is awesome. This is what you want to be trading here, right? So let's go ahead and take a look. So this is what the intraday chart looks like. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these, right? Let's go ahead and take a look at the ones that came up today. All right, so taking a look at some of the ones that came up today, guys. Let's take a look at this. And let me change this to red. Take a look at this. Right? Crowd, which we actually brought up on the room. This one was brought up for sure, but look at the volume on this one, right? So volume for the day, and this one came up very bright and early as well on our regular scanner. Number 2, Billy. So top 3, look at these breakouts on these top 3 here, right? And all of these were coming up bright and early in the morning for you to take a trade. Look at this one, SSC. So you could have traded these with just shares, or you could have traded these with options. Not all of these have options, but you can see here the trend that as soon as these things are coming up on the scanner, what are they doing? They're breaking out. Why? Because the scanner is telling you, hey, these things have a lot of volume. And when they're not breaking out and they're coming up in here, they're probably breaking down, which again gives you the opportunity to buy puts. So this one gapped up, you know, a lot of volume coming in, not breaking out. So if it's not going to continue to break out, what is it going to do? It's going to break down. And there you go. So again, just the top 5 alone, guys, gave you plenty of opportunity. Obviously, you're not going to be able to jump into all of these. And you shouldn't, right? So you can see here the volume coming into all of these things and the moves, right? So what you're looking for is smooth moves, right? This is what you want to see. Something that, man, if you would have got in here or here or here, this thing just went, right? That's what you want to see. And as you can see here, that these top 10s, everything that's in green probably had a decent move. And look at this move here. Look at this one, right? And a lot of these are things that you haven't even heard of, right? Probably haven't even looked at in the past, some of these, right? But as you can see, that's the only way you're going to find these opportunities is by, hey, identifying where the volume is proper and where the volume is exaggerated, where the volume is well above normal. And this is why this works so well, guys. And again, I know you're seeing this now. You're like, well, yeah, Ron, but this is after the fact. No, these were coming up bright and early in the morning because we're catching them as the volume is coming in. So we're seeing them going through 10, 15, 20% above normal, and then they're coming up also on the 10-minute scanner, which tells me, hey, you have 40%, 40,000% above normal here, and that's the only way I'm able to see them so fast, right before even 9:35. So that's pretty much it for today, guys. If you guys enjoyed the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. There's a lot more to come. This is gonna be a great year, guys. So let's just keep at it. You know, make your money, call it a day. So again, be effective, execute, and profit. I'll see you guys on the next one.